There now.
Welcome to the Rob and Kale podcast. Rob Sanders.
Clemson is going to kick the shit out of the South Carolina Gamecocks probably for the next 10 years every time they run across each other.
Kale Carolina Jackpot Hall.
The South Carolina Gamecocks are weaker than a plate full of piss.
The Rob and Kale podcast.
Let's go.
I'm not ashamed no more.
Speaking of a plate full of piss.
I want to do the thing that you
Oh
love.
man, we have a lot of things that are a plate full of piss we're going to talk about tonight. I want to welcome into the podcast my podcast partner in the upstate. He's not flatter than a plate full of piss. He is Carolina Jackpot, Mr. Kale Hall. What's up, Kale?
What's going on? How's everybody doing this evening? First Sunday in April, by the way. Big sports weekend we had. So, yeah.
We did have a good weekend of sports, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
Without question.
Without question. All right, Jackpot. Well, I tell you what, we got a lot we're going to get into, including, you put out a great video today talking about Dawn Staley and some of the comments that were made. I thought we could possibly get into that. And I want to talk a little bit about something I sent you about the great rivalries that are out there. I sent you the list of it, and you said, yeah, couple of those don't really make much sense. So I kind of agree with you. So,
we'll have to take a look at that and slice it, dice it, fillet it, and kind of break it down. But that's a very very strange list indeed.
Yeah, I have some issues with it, but we'll get into that too. Already, Big Barney Ross off the top. I have a concrete strip on my front lawn painted to look like a slip and slide every summer. 10 to 15 kids learn a valuable lesson on it. It's not nice, Big Barney Ross. What do you do?
That's not cool.
Anyway, appreciate you guys checking us out this evening. Let's thank our sponsors, Callaway's Bar and Grill, Callaway'sBarandGrill.com. If you're in Columbia, go by, check them out. Highway 1, diagonal from the Walmart in West Columbia. Also, we have Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport, the man who was on the side of the road today trying to get a clutch fixed. Somebody who comes in with a clutch all the time, though, is Carolina Jackpot with a great story for us every show. Jackpot, what do you got?
Let's see what kind of silliness we got today. It sucks to be a Gamecock. The excellence that is Dawn Staley has been ruined by the name Gamecock. All that talent, and they got beat by some cornbread women from Iowa. It sucks to be a Gamecock. Go Tigers.
That message courtesy of Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport. Yeah, a lot came from that game, Jackpot. There was a lot of...
I saw those girls running around out there. Those, it was very apparent that they were from Iowa. Those poor girls, just damn ashy white. I've been listening to some of the old, our good buddy Mick Foley's podcast, Foley is Pod, and he's talking about his first nice vehicle that he bought when he first got into the business was a 1984 convertible Chrysler LeBaron, and he used to cruise around in it with his sleeves rolled up, and he with the top down, and he said that was his version of his tanning bed, and he would he'd get a farmer's tan going around with the sleeves rolled up and the top down, and I saw them. I'm like, they got Mick Foley farmer's tans.
Well, I tell you what, the one young lady though could shoot a basketball from Europe, And I noticed there was one young lady that played for them that she threw a pick on one LSU player today, and I thought she knocked her teeth out. I mean, it was a brutal pick, a physical part of the game that a lot of times you don't really see in the women's game. But man, she threw a vicious pick on this LSU player. She hit the floor, and looked like she cracked her head on the floor. Those Iowa players, they look tough, but the way they beat the Gamecocks was simple. They put five women in the paint and said, if you can beat us from the outside, we'll tip our hat to you. And the Gamecocks couldn't do it. Basically what it boiled down to.
No, and our buddy up here in the upstate on radio, on Tater Radio, Walt Deptula, predicted that Friday afternoon that the Gamecocks, that while they're big and physical and all that good stuff, didn't have a lot of skill out on the perimeter. And he said, there's no way they cover that 11 points. I'm not even sure they win. In fact, I don't think they do. And damn it, I hate it when that fucker is right about something.
Okay, can I do my impression of you when he did that? When you're driving around, you're finishing up your route, it's 3:00 on a Friday, and you're thinking, you know what? I'm gonna go home, and my Gamecock women, which is what we're good at. We are a women's basketball school, by God. We have an absolutely great team. We're an 11-point favorite tonight, and this guy comes on, and he's like, I don't even think that they could win. They're an 11-point dog. They're 11-point favorites. South Carolina may lose this game. Iowa's just going to pack the paint and make the Gamecocks shoot. Jackpot's like, God damn it, motherfucker. What do you know about shit? You are nothing but a cotton-picking whore. Let me get on the phone. Oh, they blocked. God damn it. This is like the Talking Squalls podcast. I can't even get on this fucking show. When you go home. Was that close?
It was a little more toned down than that. I don't get that passionate. I don't get that passionate over women's basketball. Now, if he'd talked that kind of shit about Shane Beamer, oh, you can bet it would have probably been 3 times worse than that.
Yeah, well, you and Walt Deptula have a strange relationship. It's a very tattered relationship. He beats you in the face, you yell about it, and then he ignores you. I mean, it's pretty bad.
Baylor woman says, sorry, Carolina Jackpot, but he's honestly glad South Carolina lost. He's not a Don Staley fan. Now, I know he's a fan of that damn LSU coach. I know because she was at Baylor. That damn crazy ass with their fucking Twinkie damn looking damn Fruit Loop fairy garbage shit that she wears. What a freaking nut job she is.
I tell you what. I will rename the show the Kale Hall Show with special idiot guest host Rob Sanders. If you could wear the outfit that lady wore today with the sequins that are two-sided, if you wore that outfit for a show, I swear I would be your co-host and dickhead in whatever.
No way. That hell, I mean, that damn thing she had on, good Lord, it's going to end up as damn Goodwill.
Jordan said Kim Mulkey cosplay. That's great. Anyway, Jackpot put out a video about some of the stuff that there was a bit about Don Staley talking about, hey, we're not, I can't remember the exact terms, but go back in the channel and find that because Jackpot kind of laid it out there, and it was refreshing, and it wasn't like he was just sucking the Gamecock tit. He was actually, he said, made a lot of sense. So go and check that out. I personally, with the whole thing, Dawn Staley has, in my opinion, some of the best basketball athletes. She's got the girls that can run fast, jump high, do all of that stuff. And they play bully ball. I mean, that's just the way that it is. They got beat by an Iowa team that basically just outshot them. So, but Don Staley said it best. And this is what I tweeted at Corey Miller, who hopefully he doesn't quit Twitter again like he did when his son got his ass kicked when Clemson beat the shit out of them in the championship game. He just quit Twitter for like a month. But I told him, I said, why don't we just take what Don Staley said, which was Iowa had a great game plan and we had 3 turnovers that essentially cost the game. So we're going to question Don Staley and what she said, or are we just going to go off on this tangent that the refs didn't want the Gamecocks to win because of something other than whatever? It was a mess the way people were losing their shit over this game the other night.
That's true.
So
Just absolutely crazy. But and then the backlash from today with the whole disrespectful comments with them going back and forth with this and pointing to the ring. Who gives a shit? I mean, it's just competitiveness. I mean, and you can either call it classless on one side, you got to call them all classless. And if you want to say it was competitiveness, then it's competitiveness on both sides.
I had issues with the LSU chick, doing the whole John Cena thing and pointing to her hand and pointing to Clark, the player from Iowa. But here's the thing. Let's make sure we understand something here. Yes, you're a national champion. You deserve the respect that comes with that. But Clark lit your ass up like a fucking Christmas tree. She scored 35 points today. You couldn't stop her. And yet you're going to mock because you had a deeper bench than she did. She was the best player on the floor. You couldn't carry her fucking jock. And you're
and she was doing the John Cena thing first too. I think she came up with it, and I don't know. Who gives a fuck? You know?
It's a mess, but like sportsmanship's kind of gone to shit with all that. But anyway.
Over in the comment section here, I want to get this one before it runs away from me. Mr. Pete McGaha says he's wonder something about this LSU coach. Is she's kin to the Mulkey brothers tag team from the old NWA days? You know what? She might be. Pete, she might be, but if she is, let's make sure that we put this out there. She's the least famous Mulkey out there. She is less famous than her. I guess they'd probably be uncles. Yeah, or big brother. Could be big brothers. Because around the time that they were wrestling, that was probably during her college days. So yeah. Older brothers, whatever, but I remember when they won, they actually let them go over and win a match at in the TBS studio. That was great.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, that is funny. It is WrestleMania night, by the way. As I've got WrestleMania playing in the background here.
Yep.
But I thought we'd talk about some of these rivalries and then we'd take some calls, Jackpot. This is from 247 Sports. They ranked the top 11 rivalry games from around the country. And Jackpot, I need you to.
And it's not all football either, folks. Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a couple on here that just genuinely piss me off, and I need you to reel me in, Jackpot. All right, so let's go with number 11 first.
Yeah.
Texas A&M versus Texas in football.
Okay, I have an issue with that. How is that even a rivalry when it's not currently being played? I mean, when's the last time they met on the football field? 2005. I know it was a big game at one point in time. It's not a big game anymore. I mean, they may be rivals on the recruiting trail. They may be rivals on the transfer portal front. They may be rivals and that kind of stuff. They're not rivals on the football field. All right, now. Maybe in a couple of years they will be again.
So Texas leads that series 76-37-5. Wonder
if Darryl Royal ever told someone it ain't much of a rivalry. This here's more of a domination.
No, but here's the other thing that kind of bugs me with that. Texas A&M left the damn Big 12 because they didn't like the way Texas treated them. So we're going to go to the SEC because Texas runs everything. No, they didn't stand up, score off, and say, you know what, fuck you, Texas. We're going to kick you in the face. It was, no, we're just going to take our ball and go home. which is what they did. And then when the SEC said, hey, guess what? Texas is coming in, they didn't bitch about it. No, they couldn't, because the SEC, the folks down in Birmingham, would have been like, fuck you, we're doing it anyway. You're lucky you're here. That's exactly what they would have told them.
Yeah.
So what a mess. But yeah,
Nature Boy throws out there about the Mulkey brothers. He says, hell yeah, Carolina Jackpot, they beat the Gladiators. Yeah, it was some team that was supposedly from California or something. They'd won a couple of matches, and they were supposed to be badasses, but it was two job guys, I think, that were just like underneath the mask. That lost to the Mokies.
Yeah, I do remember that match now. All right, Kentucky and Louisville, the basketball game, and it talks about there are fans who still talk about Kentucky's win over Louisville in the 1984 NCAA tournament in the Sweet 16. Big Barney Ross was there. It was his 30th birthday, old bastard. But yeah, I mean, I remember when Denny Crum was there and Rick Pitino was out paying the whores and all that. I mean, yeah, it was a great rivalry then, but now, I mean, do you think that's like one of the 11th greatest rivalry games in sports? I don't know.
I don't know about that. Definitely, I don't know. They lost some luster, I think. I mean, I know Kentucky wants to beat Louisville, but I don't know how you can just get excited and invested about Kentucky basketball if you're a Kentucky fan. Just because, I mean, you never know. You never know who's going to be there from one year to the next. I mean, it's a different dynamic. I don't know how to explain that one.
Kentucky leads that series 38-17, by the way. So basically, All right. Now,
you're talking about the coach that was there when Denny Crum was at Louisville. It wouldn't have been Rick Pitino, or it may have at one point.
No, I meant that when Denny Crum was at Louisville, and Rick Pitino coached at Louisville and Kentucky, so he's seen both sides of it. You know,
Rick Pitino was probably at Providence or somewhere during that time. The coach at Kentucky before that would have been Joe B. Hall. I don't know. He's not even 10 to me.
No, okay.
He was kind of an older fella. Had some big glasses and all that stuff. And I don't know why they didn't just call him Joe Hall. They always threw the B in there, the middle initial. It was Joe B. Hall.
Elijah with an interesting comment. He thinks
Johnny B. Bad, I guess. I don't know.
He says the Tennessee-South Carolina game is becoming a good rivalry, especially the way it's been the last 10 years. I'm assuming he's talking about football. The women's basketball matchup is generally pretty solid right now, but would you think that Tennessee's a rivalry game for you, Jackpot?
Oh, definitely. That definitely is, yeah.
All right, the next one is Florida and Georgia in football. I don't really have a problem putting that in the top 11. It's not that far.
I can get on board with that. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party. I wish I'd like to see them move that game to the on-campus facilities. So you could, every other year you could see it there. I doubt that's going to happen. I didn't realize this. I did some research on it just to look. They've been playing in Jacksonville since the 1930s.
Yeah.
The only time that it's been on campus was 1994 and 95 when they kind of, I guess, tore the Gator Bowl down and rebuilt the stadium. Wasn't able to use it when they're getting ready for the Jaguars. But, other than that, it's been in Jacks. So, yeah.
Next one up, Florida State and Miami, their football matchup. I mean, these two teams, Miami leads the series 35-31. And generally, until Miami joined the ACC, it was really good. Now it's kind of
Yeah, I mean, that game is lost. I mean, you want to talk about go back the last, 25, 30 years. You want to talk about a game that's really lost its luster. I mean, I would think that one has. I mean, you've had little points here and there since then when each team has been kind of really good. Miami maybe in the early 2000s and Florida State throughout most of the '90s, and then in the early 2010s. But since then, I mean, both of them have largely been dumpster fires. Yeah, I mean, I know Florida State thinks they're in ascension mode, I guess, and going into 2023, and we shall see. But Miami's looked unimpressive. So,
all right, let's move to number 7. And you know what? I don't really have a problem with this one being where it is in the top 11. I don't know if it's 7 or not, but the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss and Mississippi State. I mean, that is one of the most heated rivalries, I think, in the conference.
Oh yeah, I like watching that one, man. They get there's a fight every year, but pretty much of some degree, and it's always a pretty hotly contested game, despite whatever the record is of either side when they come in there. That's always a pretty good matchup.
Yeah,
and you had some crazy personalities in there the past few years, as far as on the coaching front, with those two folks, with Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach. Of course, Mike Leach is not going to be there any longer, but still, that's an interesting one. I like it.
Number 6, it was called the Backyard Brawl, but West Virginia and Pitt. Growing up, I mean, that was a bitter rivalry. I mean, obviously they haven't played much, but yeah, I mean, back in the day, that was a special game, Jackpot.
Yeah, it was back. That's another one that go back 30 years. I mean, when both teams were, I guess they were both independents.
Right.
They were both F or F. It was FBS. It's now, back then it was just Division One. They were Division One independents, and they played every year. And they're not that far away from each other. And they had some pretty heated games back then. But as for right now, ranking that high up on a list like that, I mean, I don't see it. They just rekindled that rivalry last year,
right,
this past season. They played on the opening week. They played on that Thursday night game. No, I don't. I don't know that. I just don't know that that's what it once was. I mean, West Virginia's taken a step back as a program. They're kind of unimpressive too right now. Pitt is. They're what they are. I've called them what they are. They're just a wet fart. I mean, they're just chugging along. I mean, they're not ever going to be really good. They're never going to be a dumpster fire, but they're always just going to kind of be there, winning 6-7 games and really not impressing you a whole lot while they're doing it.
Yeah, West Virginia has been good since the Skullet left. So,
No.
Number 5 on the list is Oklahoma and Texas, their football matchup. I mean, the Red River Rivalry, is that what they call it? Red River.
Yeah, the Red River Rivalry. It was the Red River Shootout, but now we can't call it that because, we can't talk about guns. I guess I don't know. Yeah, I can get on board with that one. That's a big event there in Texas every year in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. So
that's number 5. Number 4 on the list is
that
Army.
a Cotton Bowl? They still play it there. Do they play in the
State Fair and the Cotton Bowl right there at the State Fair and all that? Yeah,
they still play in that old. Okay,
yeah.
I know they got the Is the actual? I'm kind of dumb when I'm doing this. Is the actual Cotton Bowl game played in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium?
I don't know. I believe it is, but
I think it is too.
Yeah.
Somebody in the comment section, let us know on that one, and let us know about the OU Texas game. I think he said yes. Yes, what? I don't know if they still play in the old stadium for the game between those two or not. He says it. Tom Reed says it is. I don't ever really watch it because normally when those two are playing, it always seems like my cocks are on against whoever that week, and that's going to be. I have 2 or 3 TVs going here, but I don't know. That game just ain't been on my radar lately. I don't know why. Last year it was a freaking freaking Oklahoma got put in a body bag.
Yeah. Brock says we should make it more offensive and call it the Red River Drive-By. That's funny.
Baylor man says OU and New Texas is played at the old Cotton Bowl. Cotton Bowl game is at the AT&T Stadium. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, does it? To you?
No, nothing makes sense on that front. Number 4 on the list, though, is Army Navy, their football game. Me personally, I think this is number 1 for me, but having it at 4, I mean, with the 3 that are ahead of it, I mean, you can make an argument for or against those, but Army Navy to me is number 1 in my opinion. But
yeah, I get why you say that, but I mean, they're not relevant on and you know a sense of one of them may make it to the playoffs, or I mean,
what are you
it's
talking
not
about? Tennessee ducked Army last year. They didn't want anything to do with them. They just gave them their money and said, "We don't want to play y'all." They didn't want none of that smoke.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's not compare things to what Tennessee would do. I mean,
Exactly.
because they're going to take the damn cheap, easy way out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. Consider the source when you're talking about these things.
Good
sir.
point. Good point. Number 3 on the list is the Iron Bowl, Alabama and Auburn. Kind of hard to argue against that.
I'm surprised that's not number 1. I mean, that's usually on top of everybody's list.
I don't have an issue with that being at number 3.
I don't either, but that's another one that hadn't been. I mean, it hasn't been. It hasn't factored in the national landscape very much the past few years, because Auburn has been complete trash. And Alabama almost lost to them a couple of years ago. So you got that, but I mean, yeah.
The final 2 here, North Carolina and Duke, the basketball game. This is one of the ones where I think we are force-fed this by ESPN is like, oh, you have to think this is the greatest game ever.
The fact that's above Army Navy football, and that it's above the Auburn Alabama Iron Bowl, that's trash. It really is.
I think we've been pushed that forever. Oh, this is so great. And it goes back to, Christian Leitner and Grant Hill and Grayson Al, all those guys. You got all those dickheads from Duke. And then you got Tyler Hansborough and half the fucking North Carolina players that we legitimately know have degrees from North Carolina. And some of them can't read. But we're fed that, oh, this is the greatest rivalry. Fuck you. I'm not watching. I'm not joking. Unless they're playing in the tournament against each other, I don't watch that game. Will not watch it. Can't do it. So maybe I'm just bitter.
J.R. Reed had to have been one of my favorite North Carolina players of all time. The big man. I don't know. J.R. What was that guy? The white guy. What was his name? Eric Montross.
Yeah. All right, and then number 1 is Michigan and Ohio State in football. Right now, that's been a knockout game. Whoever wins that game is going to the college football playoffs. So, and this year, both of them went to the college football playoffs. So, I guess right now, yeah.
I can get on. I can get on board with that. That's they seem to have Michigan seems to have old Ryan Day's number. They won the game. Then when you got to the playoffs, I thought Ohio State was much more impressive in their loss than Michigan was in their loss.
All right. Well, what do you think is missing, Jackpot? What do you think is missing? What should be there?
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious they don't have the Gamecocks and Clemson there, and that's all. Just bias, and it's a little bit of recency bias. I think the Gamecocks football program hadn't been exactly where it needs to be under Will Muschamp, but it's getting there. But that's a heated rivalry, no matter what the Doesn't matter what anybody's record is. I mean, I'm not going to say you can throw the records out the window because obviously the Taters, the last part of the 2010s and into the 2020s, had some really good teams, and they, kind of skull drug the Gamecocks a few times there. So I'm not going to say you can't take the records and throw them out the window, but the hatred and the intensity is still there nonetheless.
David with a comment. He said, "Did they mention Notre Dame and Michigan?" Yeah, that's true. That used to be a big game, so I'm with you on that. Jordan says very few rivalries have the political and socioeconomic history that Clemson, South Carolina has. We could take people down to when they actually, there was actually like almost a pistol fight at a early game in the 20s. Remember that, Jackpot, where the guns were drawn or something at the South Carolina game? Maybe I'm losing my shit here. I gotta look back.
In the 1920s, no, I don't really recall that. I wasn't there. I wasn't there.
Oh, you were there anyway. But no, I mean, there's a heated rivalry between those two. I truly think that the South Carolina Georgia game is there's some heat there. If the Gamecocks could win some more of those games, make Georgia sweat a little bit, that would definitely be.
Let's at least be competitive first, and then start. Yeah, it's ever since that 2019 upset win down in Athens. That one's been pretty one-sided. Last year was probably the most embarrassing of the entire bunch. Really.
Jackpot, we also have to put into the mix just the hatred between Kansas and Mizzou. Those two teams hate each other like in every sport. So I don't know. Maybe something to think about there.
Elijah Allen says if he had to spend an afternoon in Columbia, Colombia, I'd be ready to pull a gun too. Well, you better be ready to pull a gun. You're probably going to be running from drug runners and running through the hills where the coffee beans grow. And, who knows? You might end up on a soccer field somewhere. Because what you just spelled is the country, Colombia, which is in South America. You damn nitwit.
All right, we'll take your calls on rivalry stuff here.
Juan Valdez gonna get that ass.
Juan Valdez. God damn it.
What was that guy's name? What was his name? Manuel Noriega. Was he from Colombia or was he from some Central American country?
He was from Panama.
That's right. That's Central America, yeah.
Yeah, let's go to the phones. Welcome into the program. Good evening.
It's your boy TriStar. How you doing?
TriStar.
Hello, TriStar.
Yes. Hey, I'll tell you what's an underrated rivalry is in the state of South Carolina. It's the vinegar-based barbecue sauce versus the mustard barbecue sauce.
I thought he was going to say Furman and Citadel.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if
mustard barbecue is my favorite.
I like the vinegar. I like both of them. What's your favorite, Jackpot?
Mustard base is better than that. Vinegar barbecue sauce is nasty. Yeah, definitely go with the mustard based barbecue sauce. And when I was down at the Big L, they don't have that stuff down there. They season up their barbecue with I don't know. It's like some form of thin ketchup with like red pepper flakes in it. Nasty.
Big Bonnie Ross does make the best barbecue sauce. Tom says Elijah was a Marine. They can't spell. Cut him some slack. Damn it. Okay.
Now, what do you think of the Northern Alabama white sauce?
Northern Alabama what?
White sauce. It's a mayonnaise-based barbecue sauce.
Not eating it.
I've never had it. I've heard of that. I've never had it. I definitely have to try. The only white sauce I've ever had.
I tried it. It's actually very good. Like if you're smoking like chicken, it's great. Like if you're slow cooking chicken or something, it's great.
I figured it would be. It should be kind of mild. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah. But in terms of rivalries, of course, we'd have to put Tennessee and Clemson down as one of the biggest rivalries, of all time in the Tater Bone. Because
Oh,
Rob,
you know what wasn't on that list?
hated on it.
Georgia and Georgia Tech.
That's because Georgia.
Oh, come on, that's a drubbing every year. Listen, when one team dominates it, it's not really a rivalry anymore.
I mean, Georgia Tech is kind of passionate
for
about it.
a few years. I mean, for decades.
Yeah, that one, it's been pretty one-sided. Yeah,
I mean, it's like
true.
Tennessee Vanderbilt. That should be a big rivalry, but it's not because Tennessee has owned them for a century.
Ain't done so great against them the last 10 years or so. Rob, what's the record against them the last 10 years? It's like 5-5. Maybe it may be 6-4 now. Tennessee may have taken back the advantage. But,
let's see, they beat us 2005, 2008.
Hold on, I'm looking
2012.
that way we don't have to damn hear all this shit. But
2016, I think that's it. I think they haven't beaten us since 2016.
20 when James Franklin was there, they worked y'all like they was putting you out on a street corner.
Yeah, but that's back when the Vanderbilt coach was like, what the hell?
Yeah, his first year, 2012, they beat us. Which that was Derek Dewey's last game.
Tennessee's won 4 straight in the series, but let's see here. And since 2012, Vanderbilt's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Tennessee's won 6 times. So, 6 out of the last 11 for Tennessee over the smart kids from Vanderbilt.
They actually, I don't know, they kind of leveled up a little bit last year before that Tennessee game, and we're looking pretty good. But Tennessee kind of put the buzzsaw treatment on them there in rivalry week game, beat them like 56-0. I was kind of surprised at that.
56-0.
In 2016, Vanderbilt put up 45. In 17, they put up 42. In 18, they put up 38. Holy
Lord.
Shit. Can you imagine giving up a combined, 125 points over, 3 games to Vanderbilt? Damn.
Oh, it was dark times.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that they teach tackling there in Knoxville. In fact, I'm pretty sure they don't.
Let's not forget
when you've got the Three Stooges as your head coaches, when you got Derek Dooley, Bush Jones, and Jeremy Pruitt as your head coaches, I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, I know. Now you've got the Messiah. I heard some.
Now we finally have our guy, and look what happened.
Yeah, some Tennessee fan on one of these podcasts was on there in the StreamYard thing and called him a genius. I mean, some of these words like the GOAT,
I mean, I do think
elite, genius. These terms are just thrown around so loosely.
Oh, goddamn, he said.
But same way that Kirby Smart's a
genius.
defensive genius.
Goddamn. Kirby Smart's won 2 national titles. Can we not use the same term?
But I'm talking about if you look at everything he's done combined when he was at Alabama and now with him at Georgia, he's got the track record.
Yes, but
he's a defensive genius.
Talking about
he was the only coach this past season, the whole Tennessee under 30.
Yes, but listen to what I'm saying to you. He's earned the right to be called a genius because of the things that he's done. Heupel has 1 winning season at Tennessee. One season where he won more than 7 games at Tennessee. And, oh, my God.
Well, it was only his second year.
He's the second coming. Second coming.
But, I mean, if you look, too, if you look at when Kirby Smart went to Georgia, everybody was saying the same thing except about him having an offense. Everybody kept saying, oh, well, he's got to get an offense to be able to win a championship.
Cool.
Because that was back when
he had all the pieces there at the time, though. I mean, he had a decent, he had a decent little quarterback room. Had a really good, stable running backs there. It was pretty much set when he got to Georgia.
Oh yeah,
he
had
Nick do a lot.
Michelle and all those guys. But I would argue when he brought in Todd Monken, that's when they got brought over the hump, because that's what everybody was thinking was he ever actually going to win it? And that's what people are saying right now about Heupel is like, can he get a defense at least good enough to get over that hump? And I think he can, because if you look at their last 3 recruiting classes, 80% of it has been on the defensive side. And now they're finally getting some really good defensive guys that are starting to get into the rotation, and they're going to be playing this year, and I expect their defense to take a step forward.
I saw what they've been recruiting.
2021 Georgia defense or a 2011 Alabama defense, but I do expect it to take a step forward.
Yeah, I saw they've been recruiting at a pretty good level as far as on the defensive side of the ball, and that's a good thing. But I mean, do they have the coaching over there on that side of the ball to develop it? Because
I believe we do, because watching the combine, the guys that were leaving, I think it's more of a personnel issue. I think we were left high and dry when Pruitt got fired, and we had 35 transfers. And Heupel was building this roster from scratch, basically. So to me, what he's done the last 2 years is phenomenal. Couldn't ask for anything more.
No, that's true. I mean, that point.
And that's the thing, like I said, if people want to come out and say the offense, what we run is a gimmick offense, it's not really a gimmick if you really think about it. It's a spread offense. The only thing gimmicky would be like it's a no huddle. That's the only thing it's a gimmick. I mean, to me, a gimmick offense would be like a triple option, like what the service academies and what Georgia Tech used to run. To me, that's a gimmick offense. Or running flea flickers every play would be a gimmick.
Triple option is not really a gimmick. I mean, that's an old fashioned offense. That goes back to more primitive football days.
I mean, why not bring back the wishbone and the wing T offense while we're at it?
Well, the triple option is run out of a wishbone.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this for the people that said, all he does is throw the ball and stuff. I still remember watching that Tennessee-Alabama game where they lined up in power I and gave it to the fullback. That's old school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see people doing that shit anymore.
Broccoli
and what was hilarious is Alabama's defense, that vaunted Nick Saban defense, didn't know whether to shit or wind their watch.
Big Barney Ross says it's a gimmick. So,
well, who's Big Barney Ross's team?
Who gives a shit? He said it's a gimmick. Rack Dog says this collar's a gimmick. And Roll Tide says we need to move on. TriStar, do you have anything else, sir?
Well, here's the thing. Roll Tide, I'll be there in Tuscaloosa. Have fun with that shitty offense and shitty defense. Good night. Have fun in the gimmick, Rob.
Woo!
It's a full gimmick offense, says Drewski. I mean,
I know probably about
Big Barney Ross.
Probably about 12, 15 years ago, I want to say, I went to a football game. I went to a Burns High football game up in Clover, South Carolina. And Clover at the time, they ran the wing T formation. And that was crazy watching them kids play. Hell, you didn't know who had the damn ball.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep your eyes in the backfield. Like another gimmick type offense is what Wake Forest runs with that. What do they call it? Delay. It's like a delay.
The slow mesh.
Whatever. Yeah.
The slow mesh. I got a guy that's he used to be he was the meat market manager for me at Ingalls over in Easley, and I asked him. I said, "What's that offense called they run at Wake?" He said it was a fast-paced dumpster fire. This is Clemson didn't really have a lot of problems stopping it. That was before last year. It was when Brent Venables was there, obviously.
Yeah. All right. Well, 803-470-2905. I don't think I put the number up there. And we already had people calling, but
I think they should save it in their phones.
Yeah. By the way, you can call and leave voicemail there. If you get really pissed off, leave voicemail. We'll play them.
I used to call into Uncle Lou's show all the time before he went to doing this with the StreamYard link. He had a phone number. And it's actually still in my my phone, the number that you called to call into his show. It's under Lou.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Anyway.
call into his show or get on the StreamYard link to do that much anymore because, hell, I got to get in bed so early anymore. And he generally starts his shows at around 9 o'clock. And it's just like, normally by like 10:30, 11, you could actually kind of get in. So if you do it right now, it's kind of slow. But during the season, he's got people stacked up, waiting to get in to spew nonsense. Someone that can actually bring something to the table, such as myself. I have to kind of take a seat in the back. But I'm like, I ain't taking a seat in the back. Ain't sitting in the back of the damn bus, all right?
Nobody puts Jackpot in the corner. Makes him wait. All right. 803-470-2905 if you'd like to call and join the program.
Elijah says Kentucky versus the monitoring of Sudafed sales is a pretty big rivalry. No, that's a domination.
All right. 803-470-2905. Roll Tide says that caller will be nowhere to be found when Bama pushes their shit in this year. Turd. He called him a turd.
He's all right. He'll be he's not a run and hide type.
That's one of the rivalries that should be there. I think it's because Tennessee has sucked asshole for so long, but that used to be a heated rivalry with Tennessee and Alabama in football. But now it's just a fucking, they played like Vanderbilt. Tennessee has against them.
Last year was the first time they'd beaten them since. Hell, the damn Simpsons wasn't even on TV the last time that damn Tennessee beat Alabama. Come on.
Nick says Tennessee versus the NCAA is a real rivalry. Devin says nobody is worried about Alabama now. Man, we got to save that comment for the season.
Yeah, let's put a pin in that one. That's rich right there.
I can't guarantee you much, but I bet.
Right now we have looks in the ring. It looks like Snoop Dogg is preparing to give the people's elbow to the Miz.
I must be in a delay because I'm watching the Oscar match with.
Oh yeah, that's way back, and he just hit the people's elbow. That was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Now Snoop's dancing. And by the way, remember when Miz was like the world champion in back-to-back nights? He lost to McAfee last night, and tonight he's getting his ass clowned by Snoop Dogg, who's damn near 60. Throwing his elbow.
Well, the Miz is pretty old now. He's but he was God, he used to be annoying as shit. Like, I don't know. What's that been, like 15 years ago when he was more kind of relevant? What was this thing? I'm the Miz. I'm awesome.
Yeah. Are you?
What was that goober that was in WWE for a while that the microphone used to come down from the ceiling for him? He'd get.
I don't know.
He had blonde hair, and he was there around that time, like in the later 2000s, kind of.
Kennedy. His name was Kennedy.
Yes, God. And that was around the time I kind of stopped watching. I want to say around 2003-ish, around in there. Seems like when Stone Cold and that kind of went away, and The Rock kind of went to Hollywood. It was just like, yeah.
Snoop Dogg in the crowd, by the way.
The last WrestleMania pay-per-view that I had ever bought. We don't rent them, we buy them. The last one I bought was WrestleMania. I think it was WrestleMania 19. That was the one that was at the Safeco Field in Seattle. When you had Chris Jericho wrestled Shawn Michaels there, and Vince McMahon took on Hulk Hogan. That was the last one that I bought until I want to say like 2012 or something. Whenever John Cena and The Rock wrestled each other.
There you go.
I bought that one because me and my son watched it together, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Between 2003 and 2012 or whatever it was, I'm like, "Damn, the price of this thing!" Hell, it was like $75. in 2000. And now you're pretty much basically watching it for free, just because you got Peacock. So things have definitely changed a lot.
You got to subscribe to the cock.
Subscribe to the cock. It doesn't
Exactly.
cost hardly anything, and I mean, you got a lot of good content on here.
Yeah. Jackpot's a fan of the cock. We found that out. Way to go.
Just a big old cock.
All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Shout out to Twisted Rooster joining the program. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Zona says Limp Bizkit performed at the Seattle WrestleMania. I believe you are right.
You are correct, sir.
Joshua Bryant says, is it $10 a month? I think, I don't know. I mean, I got some subscriptions for some stuff that just comes out, and there's a whole lot of them that they don't cost a lot each, but when they're all lumped together, they probably, yeah. And what is this damn service they've got that you can get an app on your phone or some shit to like track your subscriptions that come out automatically, and you can delete the ones you don't need anymore? Well, if you're smart, all you do is go to your bank account. You go get on your bank account app and get on that page, and it tells you what's coming out. I mean, it's got all your stuff listed there, all your recurring payments.
I think the thing with that, though, Jackpot, is that we've gotten to a point now where people don't like talking to people. And, the actual, hey, I have to call and cancel something, fucking people just don't want to do it. They'd rather pay the $8 a month and be like, just fuck it. Maybe there's something there that I'll watch later on. I don't know.
That's true. There's people, I mean, that really have zero social skills anymore. Like, I'll be out and about on the route, and like, somebody's checking me in, and I'll just throw them a little jab or something trying to be funny, and they'll just look at me like, ew. I'm just like,
the wife says we're calling her out. I mean, there are people that are like, yeah, whatever, I'll just fucking pay it. It's easier to just pay it, and then or I'll remember it next month, and then, ta-da,
Well, I was looking at something this evening on Twitter that Message Board Geniuses Twitter account. They had tweeted something out and kind of clowned the Clemson person. They got it off TigerNet, where somebody just put up a post on TigerNet that, I'm tired of going to these restaurants in the Anderson area and having to scan this little thing on the menu or scan this little thing on the wall at the booth to get the menu. It's like, just bring me a menu. So I shouldn't have to use my device to order from your restaurant. And here's
the thing.
Like, did they not realize that they'll bring him a menu if he asks for it?
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of, like, after COVID too, restaurants got out of having to keep those menus. And like, let's say you have a menu and then all of a sudden, you want to change it 6 months later, you got to get that shit reprinted. No, if you just have the damn QR code, you can put whatever the hell you want up there, and boom, it gives them the menu right there in their phone. They're going to be looking at their fucking phone anyway. Why should I spend $3,000 or $4,000 making menus and shit for someone when take the QR?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, people don't want, I swear, I mean, you get a lot of that. You hear a lot of it. I was at Walmart in Lawrence, South Carolina, I want to say a couple of weeks ago, working that store. And I went up front to take a leak and everything, because I don't normally go to the front of that store there, because all my stuff's back in the very back, and that's usually where I'm at. I went up front, and I heard, there's, you got the self-checkout carousel up there, and then you've got like, one or two maybe open registers here, and the lines are long as shit, and everybody's kind of going to the self-checkout or getting guided over to the self-checkout. And I hear this one old guy, bitching to his wife about having to use his, like, it's right here making us use this like forced slavery right here. And I'm like, good God. I'm like, what do we really need all the damn drama? I'm like, if they just use it or go stand in the damn line over there, it's got 20 people in it. Now, I said they would not check your ass out.
I think that First of all, I have to address Jack. He says, Carolina Jackpot, you ain't a Walmart guy. No, he's not. He's a fancy man. He doesn't go to Walmart.
I was just in there working some stuff up. But seriously, I think a lot of the people up here, especially the older ones, I think a lot of their aversion to self checkout. And to be honest with you, I'm not trying to clown on anybody. I think a lot of these individuals can't read. Seriously, and that's probably what their bitch is. It's not that they're lazy; it's just that they can't read, and they are probably ashamed of it.
Hi to Uncle Lou. Jack says, excuse me, Twister Rooster says gas stations need self lotto checkout. Yeah, that's something that's fucking. You go to the gas station and there's some guy in front of you that's got. I gotta get my damn lottery tickets, and it's just ridiculous. All right, let's go back out to the phones. And welcome into the program. Good evening.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hello, sir.
Good.
Good. I've really been enjoying the show this evening. I want to thank you for all the hard work you guys have been putting in.
Okay.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, you guys excited about the Masters, or?
I mean, I'm gonna watch some of it, but yeah.
I watched on it. That's it. That's odd. I don't recall that being held on Easter weekend in the past. I mean, is this just an anomaly or?
Well,
no?
Easter weekend changes.
Yeah.
Masters doesn't. So Masters is always the first full week of April. Sometimes that ends up being on Easter.
Well, I mean, they don't.
Weekend.
They don't. Obviously, they don't care about Jesus down in Augusta. They're going to do their damn tournament regardless. The first weekend of April.
Right.
If Easter falls, then oh well. To hell with Jesus. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, the Augusta does what it wants.
Yeah.
I'd heard 6 weeks ago or so, when it was kind of unseasonably warm, that those folks down there that take care of the grounds at the Masters had packed the azaleas in ice or something so they wouldn't bloom out too fast. Have you heard, how's the success or failure on that gone?
Yeah, I mean, they've tried that before. It doesn't really work.
I wouldn't think that it would.
A couple of days ago, that the azaleas aren't looking too great this year.
I could see it fucking killing them. I mean, I don't think that'd be very good.
Yeah. You know what they did one time? I don't know. This has been probably 10 years ago or so, but a tornado actually came through here and took out a bunch of trees at the Augusta National like a month before the Masters. Well, they don't have time to be planting seeds out there and then waiting 50 years. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They had fully grown pine trees hauled in here.
Oh my gosh.
They had to block the interstate off to get them down here. It was
Could you
crazy.
imagine if that, you were late for a doctor's appointment and you'd have to call and be like, I might have to reschedule. There's a fucking tree blocking the interstate.
Yeah. Yeah, you should have seen it. It's like these 200-foot long flatbeds with fully grown pine trees on them, roots, branches, and all.
That was insane.
Yeah. And those, I mean, I don't know how much, I don't know what the going rate for a pine tree is, but I bet it ain't cheap.
I'll tell you, I saw something today, too, at Walmart here in Simpsonville. It really perturbs the shit out of me, and I don't understand. I've noticed it popping up a lot, and I would say maybe the last 10 years or so. I'm looking out there when I was coming back from the store to the garden center to get my mulch, because I bought 10 bags of mulch there. There's like a couple of dead palmetto trees in the islands out in the parking lot, and then there's a dead palmetto bush up closer to the store. I'm like, why are all these fools trying to plant these palmetto trees and bushes and stuff up here in the upstate? They don't belong here. They don't grow well here. Yeah. Stop doing it. Just stop. Those things belong in Columbia. They belong in Charleston. They belong below us. Okay. This is the upstate. They aren't native here. Just deal with it. I don't know. It just perturbs the shit out of me. I don't know why people got to do that.
there was a fad down here 10 or 15 years ago where everybody was trying to plant palm trees in their yard. Now you ride around, you don't see a single palm tree. None of them last.
No, they're all dead because they don't grow in Augusta either, which is kind of strange because Augusta is like kind of on that same plane with Columbia and that. I mean, they're all kind of like in that sand hill region, I guess, but I don't know.
Yeah. Either of you two ever been to the Masters?
I have not. My mom's been down there a few times.
Once a long time ago, but it's like the egg salad sandwich and all that's the big deal down there, right? Is this something you go to ever? The egg, isn't it the egg salad sandwich that like everybody's, and it's like the that keeps the same price from like the 70s. It's like $1 for a sandwich.
Yeah.
Something
I like
that.
the pimento cheese better, but yeah, the prices are like $1 or $1.50 for a sandwich, $1 for a Coke, $2 for a beer.
Is it
now the pro shop? The pro shop has
there?
kept up with current prices, though. Don't worry about that. You go in the pro shop, you're gonna pay $80 for a shirt, $40 for a hat, all that. But yeah, the food and the drinks are cheap.
Is this something that you're big on, Uncle Lou? You going to the Masters every year, if you can?
No, I've been 10 or 15 times. Just when you grow up here, it's not that hard to get tickets, either yourself or your neighbors got one or somebody you went to school with got one. I mean, it's not hard to go. But
you have people down there on Masters weekend. You have people down there that like will move out of their house for the weekend and go stay with a relative so they can rent it out like on an Airbnb basis.
Yeah, well, it's usually the whole week, 9 days actually. It's usually like yesterday through next Sunday,
Hey, do you
rent out
the she shed for the Masters? A couple of drunks stay there, and hey,
I probably could.
You probably should.
I probably could. There's people that rent their house out for the week and pay their mortgage for the year.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So depending on how close you are to the course and how many bedrooms you have and that kind of thing.
I think
a lot of you can get a deal with a corporate, like Coca-Cola rents out a bunch of houses, a bunch of companies. They'll rent out a bunch of houses and they don't care what they pay. They just write it off.
So I've heard that in Columbia, like the Marriott and the Hilton downtown are booked from Wednesday night on. People will literally drive from here to Augusta and then come back here to stay. Yeah. So I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, you can't get a hotel here. A Holiday Inn here be $500 a night this week. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Well, the show's
last week,
the
week before Masters, they go through all the roach motels and kick out all the prostitutes. To free up space.
Somebody's got to take care of those prostitutes.
Somebody's got to take care of the hoes. That's ridiculous.
We didn't have a hoe fund.
Yeah, well, the jail's taking care of them this week. They lock them all up this week, then they let them out next week. All the homeless people and the prostitutes that live in the motels. Yeah, they arrest them all last week, let them out next week.
I think they started that after, Tiger Woods was sampling every goddamn woman in Augusta when he was down there dominating.
Well, speaking of Tiger Woods, the strip club situation is interesting down here during Masters Week too, because Augusta's got 2 or 3 strip clubs downtown, but they're absolutely horrible. I mean, even by strip club standards, they're just a complete joke, except for this week because they bring them in from all over the country to dance or whatever it is they do here this week. So it is worth going this week.
The show's about rivalries tonight, Uncle Lou. One of the biggest 11 rivalries, according to 247 Sports, is the Georgia-Florida game in football.
Yeah.
Do you think there's another one that you look at as a Georgia fan that you think is just a huge rivalry? And it can't be Georgia Tech because y'all beat those nerds silly, but do you have a different one in mind?
You talking about involving Georgia?
Yeah.
Auburn, I think, would be number 2.
I don't think that's fair. You don't think Tennessee's there?
No, I mean, we didn't play Tennessee every year until, I don't know, the last 20 years or so, whereas we played Auburn every year since like 1880. I mean, Georgia and Auburn have played more times, I think, I know, than Georgia and than Auburn and Alabama have played. So that would be number 2. A lot of it is geography too. Like a lot of people in the Atlanta area hate Georgia Tech the most. A lot of people in South Georgia hate Florida the most. West Georgia, they hate Auburn. North Georgia, they hate Tennessee. Uncle Lou hates South Carolina. But I love Jackpot though.
Well,
It's just South Carolina that I hate.
I'd like you two to catch a game in the stands. That'd be some hilarious shit. You two just ripping
Well,
each
it's
other.
funny. I don't know if Jackpot even remembers this. Me and Jackpot were going to get together and live stream together the Georgia South Carolina game in 2020. We had plans, and then COVID happened, and the dates got all rearranged, and we ended up playing South Carolina, I think, on Thanksgiving weekend that year, and so we weren't able to do it.
Yeah,
that's
because you
But
went
we
to
were
New
going to
York.
get together. We had talked about it over the summer, and either he was going to come down here or I was going to go up there, and we were going to do.
You went to New
live
York,
stream
I
and watch
believe it
the game.
was.
Yeah.
Went to West.
Didn't you go to New York? You went to New York at some
West
point.
by God. Yeah, well, West Virginia, because it was Thanksgiving weekend. Yes, I was in West Virginia.
That's right. I don't know how I got New York out of that.
Yeah, we couldn't do it.
But
yeah, we were supposed to play like week 2 or 3 or something, but when they redid the schedule, it was Thanksgiving weekend for no reason at all.
That's something that you guys
It was weird beating y'all that late in the year.
Yeah, it kind of felt less than, didn't it?
Oh my goodness.
So. Anyway, great show, guys. I appreciate y'all letting me call in. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you again soon.
All right, Uncle Lou.
Thanks, sir.
All right, buddy.
All right, there you go, Jackpot.
Elijah says, Jackpot, didn't you have San Diego State going all the way in the tournament? No.
It would have been great if he did. So
I don't think anybody did.
No, nobody did. All the brackets are trash this year.
Did you see the end of that one last night? Wow.
I did. He hit that at the buzzer to send them in, man. And North Carolina, Connecticut and San Diego State play tomorrow. And the line's 7.5 for Connecticut. Connecticut has been destroying people. But
yeah,
we'll see how that works out. But I mean, would you be shocked if San Diego State won? I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, what did UConn come in seeded, like a 4th seed or something? 4th seed?
Yeah. North Carolina. Yeah. I don't know why I'm saying North Carolina. Connecticut's vulnerable. They really are. They could get popped in the mouth.
They are. I mean, could you imagine if the Aztecs were the national champions? What some shit that would be.
Yeah, I mean, there's
big great story though. Yeah, I was looking at something Josh Pate 24/7 Sports tonight during his live show. He put up there, it was the Big 12 odds to make the college football national playoff championship game. And, Texas and Oklahoma are up there near the top. Kansas State's like plus 8,000 or something, I think. Would you want to know who's at the very bottom of the Big 12?
Bottom of the Big 12, Iowa State.
Remember, we got some new teams too. Remember?
Oh, is it Central Florida?
No, it's Cincinnati at like plus 40,000 odds, and I thought that was strange. I'm like, have they haven't fallen off that much, have they?
Well, their coach left, so who knows?
Well, yeah, and that's true. And they did hire Scott Satterfield.
Jesus. That means they're a failure. Fuck them.
Yeah, they're going. I mean, they're going straight to hell in the handcart because that guy's a joke and a liar, which has been confirmed.
Very good, sir. Well, Jackpot, do you have anything else you want to go over this evening before we get out of here?
I can't really think of anything, sir.
I think we've had a good show, and always we'll be back at it on Wednesday. And we hope you guys have a great week as we get ready for the Masters and everything else. And we'll talk to you later on.
All righty.